What's up, guys? It's Russo and Jordy with Backdoor Fantasy Sports, and my mood is a little bit so right now. Well, I mean, in my Dynasty League, I started Anthony Richardson over Baker Mayfield, and I really need a win this week, and I don't know. It's frustrating. Anthony Richardson goes out in like the first quarter. Baker just absolutely goes nuclear. So I'm still just pushing off those vibes. I'm in a close race here, though. I'm up by 1 point. I've got Tyreek Hill left tomorrow, and my opponent has DK Metcalf. So I hope Tyler Huntley can bring this Miami offense to life. But I just had to kind of just let you know where I'm coming from. So I'm going to try to keep the vibes up, but it's just one of those frustrating days where all of my points were on the bench in fantasy. But
yeah, not to mention we laid a goose egg on you guys for the picks.
Yeah, I mean, I went 2-1. My Conklin, who like, turns out the receptions were the prop to take because he got like 4 receptions and did not clear his yards.
That's so crazy.
So yeah, that was a weird game. I can't believe the Jets lost that game.
Yeah, I was 1 catch away on both of my guys. I took Calvin Austin for over 1.5. He had 1 target for 1 catch. Steelers had a rough go of it. The Colts really gave him a run for their money, but there was plenty of opportunity. Calvin Austin just didn't see the field enough. And I took Jahan Dotson. He didn't have a single target until the 4th quarter, and then he got 2 catches. And just ended. He had like 4 targets at the end, I think, but just 1 more catch would have done it for both of those guys. Jahan Dotson, man, I think he's done. Yeah, I can't. I'm gonna probably just drop him, honestly. I have him in my dynasty team for the last 2 years. I'm like, I just don't see it.
And I will not be picking him up if you do that. So just a little heads up. But anyways, welcome to the show.
Yeah, we had a lot to talk about.
We've got a double header tomorrow. We have 4 plays for you for tomorrow's slate. We've got 2 games. We've got the early game is Miami versus Tennessee. So the Dolphins versus the Titans. We have Tyler Huntley, who is going to be making his debut as a Miami Dolphin, which we really hope. Like, we thought as soon as we saw news he got signed, we're like, oh sweet, he'll be in there as soon as he possibly can. And it's been like this quarterback battle and stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah.
He's clearly such a better quarterback than
Skyler
Boyle and Skylar Thompson or whatever their names are. But like, anyways, but yeah, we've got 4 picks for you. We've got Dolphins versus Tennessee, and then we've got the Seahawks versus
Detroit,
the Lions.
Yeah.
So there's actually a decent amount of fantasy related stuff to go over, and we've got 4 props that we were able to come up with relatively quick because there's a lot of players for fantasy that are pretty juicy for these games. If you're new to the channel, this is our props show. We also have a fantasy football show. We'll be doing our review of the whole week on Tuesday for our waivers episode. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like if you enjoy the content, and drop us a comment. Let us know how you did this week for the Sunday slate. But yeah, I don't know how long they're going to be doing these double headers on Monday, but it's kind of nice having 2 games on Monday.
I think we get 1 more next week, and then it's back to normal.
Okay. And I saw that next Sunday we have like a 9:30 a.m. game, so it must be another like
London game. I think Paris or something like that.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, we cover sports picks for Prize Picks, Underdog, Chalkboard, different stuff like that, and we have a fantasy football show as well. And speaking of which, we're going to talk just for a minute about one of our partners, Underdog, our official partner. They're running all sorts of specials. They just continue to run specials week after week. And if you use code BACKDOOR, you'll get up to $1,000 in bonus cash with your first deposit and a free pick, in addition to all the picks that they will be throwing at you. With all these promos they've been running. They do like vulture protection for running backs. So if the backup running back comes in and takes a touchdown away from your starter, they'll still give the starter the score for that. They've got no sweat tokens, which is basically protected picks, like a protected slip. And they've got these boosts that they added that are pretty cool. They'll just like, you can choose what slip you want to add it to, and you can add like a 20, 30, I've seen 50% boosts that they'll throw in there. And they've been giving those out pretty regularly. So, and I'm sure like it won't be long until we're starting to get NBA promos, which will be a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
So yeah, just use code BACKDOOR, and they'll give you all those goodies. There's a link in the description. And we're also partners with Sleeper. So if you enjoy Sleeper picks, or if you want to like try Sleeper picks because you enjoy Sleeper on just for regular fantasy football, just use code BACKDOORFS. Just add the FS on the end of the code, and they'll give you up to $100, like basically 100% deposit match. Deposit up to 100, you get a full 100 in credit as well for joining, and all of that's in the description. Just remember to use code BACKDOORFS for Sleeper. Let's talk about the plays we're going to be getting into. So I'm going to be taking, I kind of go to these somewhat a lot, but they tend to be my best picks, is these fantasy score props. James Conner he had this bounce back game just like we were hoping, and Brian Thomas Jr. ended up getting those targets. It was just Conklin on my side of things that, man, he didn't get it done. And I thought it was the opposite. Should have taken the receptions. But for fantasy score, I like David Montgomery in this. I think 12.5 is really low for this Seahawks matchup here. And he's just in the flames, and I'm going to continue to stay in the flames with him. So I'm getting it at 12.5 on Prize Picks. Going to be taking that for more. And then let me just double check. And then we're getting at 11.85 on Underdog, which is half point PPR. So that's why there's a difference in the line there. He's not huge on pass catching. He can get it done. He usually grabs like 1 or 2 a game. But I think he's going to get a touchdown in this, and he's just getting such heavy usage. I love this play. But I'll break all that down in a minute. And then I like Jackson Smith and Jigba to go over 4.5 receptions, getting that on Prize Picks and Underdog. What are you getting into tomorrow, Jordy?
Yeah, so I'm taking Tyreek Hill over 54.5 rushing plus receiving yards. Really feel good about this line. His receiving yards are only at 52.5, so I want both. I think there's a chance he gets a rush tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit later. There's actually a demon prop on the board we both like, and I actually have a play that will hit if they do that, so that'll be nice. Yeah. And then also I've got Kenneth Walker over 10.5 fantasy score on Prize Picks and 8.45 on Underdog. I'll get into why I like this play, but he is back, so hopefully he does his job. And yeah, that's the 2 I got.
All right. Well, I'll get us started here with David Montgomery. We can see that just like I was saying, he's been in the flames. He's gone over this in four straight games going back into last year against San Francisco. But Detroit, Ben Johnson is one of the best coordinators in the league. And I'm sure he'll be getting a lot of head coaching job offers next year. But he had some this year, and he chose to stay and be the offensive coordinator for the Lions. And they really have a true identity going on. If we take a look at this matchup for rushing and receiving, specifically to running backs, the Seahawks are 20th in rushing yards allowed to running backs and second in receiving yards. Excuse me. But we know that David Montgomery gets most of his work done just rushing the ball. So I like that matchup a lot at 20th in rushing yards allowed. Let me see. Yeah, he's averaging over the last 5 games, he's averaging 15.2 rushing attempts per game. And that last game against Arizona, when they just absolutely just checkmated us, I don't want to get too deep into Arizona right now because we had another bad outing this week. That was kind of part of the reason my mood was a little bit down. But yeah, he went for 23 rushing attempts. So if they get the lead in this, I think that they'll just feed him. And it's a 47 point over under, so it's the higher of the 2 games as far as the scoring line goes. And then the Lions are favored by 4. So I think that this is going to be a good outing for him. He's pretty much the lead back right now, which everyone was expecting Jahmyr Gibbs to take a step, and I still think we see that mid-season. But right out of the gates, they were just starting David Montgomery, and they've got basically the best 1-2 punch. Both of these guys are every week starters with upside for fantasy. So I like Montgomery to go over 12.5 in this game with this matchup. So we'll be taking that for more. The DFS optimizer from Daily Grind disagrees with me, and they disagreed about James Conner too. So we always want to be transparent with you guys, let you know what the actual tools we use are saying, and they're favoring this to go under at 52.91% odds to hit the under. And it's a lot of times it's usually because there's a discrepancy there with Prize Picks all the way up at 12.5. And a lot of these other platforms have it down at 11. Even the ones that have full point PPR, like DraftKings has this down at 11. So go with your gut. If you don't want to take it, just find something else or take the under. But they have his rushing receiving touchdown prop at 0.5 favored to go over -130. So if that goes over, I think he's going to go higher than 12.5. That's just me. But yeah, I'm definitely taking this one for more. I like it on both platforms. And then my second play, Jackson Smith-Njigba. I think this is going to be a breakout game for him. Detroit is basically the best run defense in the league, like we talked about on the other show. Like what they did to James Conner last week, holding him to just over 3 points in full point PPR is wild. And that's what they do to teams. They stack the box, and they're basically a pass funnel type defense. So there's always a lot of pass attempts by opposing quarterbacks, and usually a decent amount of pass completions. Teams tend to have to pass the ball a lot against Detroit because they can put up points and they're really good against the run. So I think that he's going to go for a decent amount of receptions. And if you look at the matchup here, Detroit's 32nd in receptions allowed to wide receivers. And that's just all a part of the style of play that they have. Like teams are passing on them a ton. So I think that we're going to see not quite what JSN did to New England with 12 receptions, but I think he's good for like 6 or 7 in this game, because I do think a lot of the attention is going to be on DK Metcalf. So I'm going to be taking this one for more. Let's see. Targets. I'll look at the targets real quick. So yeah, in that last game, he only had 3 targets against Miami. And so, that was a big game for Zach Charbonnet, and they pretty much, Miami's just been in rough shape. So 3 targets, 3 receptions. I think that he's going to get targeted a lot more in this game. And I think he's going to go for at least 5. So I love this line at just 4.5. If we take a look at the optimizer for this one, they've got this one heavily juiced to go over as the best play for JSN on Prize Picks. 52.23% odds to hit the over -129. And if you look at all of these sports books, they're all favoring this to go over. FanDuel has it at a -135, DraftKings -130, Caesars -135, and then that line on Underdog's odds has it at a -122 to go over. So I'm feeling really good about this play. If you guys want to check out this app that Daily Grind offers, this is their DFS optimizer. This is a really killer tool to help you find plays because it does all the work for you. But then you can also look at the line you're getting it at on whatever platform you have it set to, and you can compare that across all the other platforms and see what they're giving you that line at. Maybe you see another platform that you're like, I'm going to jump over onto Underdog where I can get this for even cheaper, and I'm going to take that over. Or you can do a little bit of middling. If you see it way higher on another platform, you can go take the under on that other platform. But then you can also compare odds, which is like a game changer for having just all the odds in one place. And they make several different types of tools. But if you guys want to check this out, they're a partner of ours. So if you use code BACKDOOR, you get 25% off of your subscription as long as you make it. So you can lock in all of NFL, all of NBA if you want. They'll let you lock that 25% down for up to a year if you prefer. So yeah, code BACKDOOR at dgfantasy.com and they will hook you up. And also this app Outlier is another partner of ours. Just helps you dial into the details, and you can I just love being able to see all the different categories, the history of the player, the matchups, the injury reports, the insights about the players. They cover everything. So this is what we use to vet our plays and to really dial into the details. If you want to try this one out, they're just going to let you try it for free for 7 days. All you have to do is go through the link in the description of the video for Outlier, and no code or anything. Just sign up through that link and they're going to let you use this for a week. And you might as well take advantage of week 5 with it and see how you like it. But yeah, that's going to cover my 2 plays, and I'll pass it over to Jordy.
All right, sweet. So to get into my 2 plays here. Let's see, make sure my screen's getting captured here. All right, so I've got I don't have David Montgomery. That's your play. Usually mine are at the top. I've got Kenneth Walker for over 10.5 fantasy score here. I really like this play a lot. You know, it's just going to depend really if you guys don't like it, because he is coming back from an injury. I was just looking at the sleeper write-up on him here. He was limited in practice on Friday, but the head coach, Mike McDonald, said he is ready to return to the backfield now. Apparently, he was feeling pretty good on Saturday night, so hopefully he got into practice today, and they were able to kind of work him in. So apparently he's good to go. So I like this play now. 10.5 fantasy score is super low for Kenneth Walker. If he scores a touchdown, this is as good as cashed. Last time he played Detroit, it was later on in the season last year. It was a really close game, 37-31. He had 18.4 fantasy score in that game. So he did really well. You know, Zach Charbonnet has been playing a lot better. He looks very competent, but they're saying that he's going back to his backup role now. What does that mean? We don't really know. I think they'll probably split a lot of carries tomorrow, but I think if they get up to the goal line, I think Kenneth Walker will get the goal line work. That's just usually how it goes. But Zach Charbonnet, if they get behind, I can see Zach Charbonnet being in for a lot of the passing work. So it's just a little bit of a weird area here. This is a play me and Russo were talking about where it's like, if you don't take it, it's like, oh yeah, of course he hit that, you know, like of course he went over 10.5 fantasy score. That's super low. But if he goes under it, it's like, well, maybe he wasn't ready yet. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword here. So if you're not feeling comfortable about it, you don't have to take it, but I feel really good about it. I mean, the dude has had massive games before. Obviously Arizona locked him up. I think that was the game he ended up kind of getting banged up in. And then he played against Denver, and he had a really good game against Denver, 18.9 fantasy score. And I don't know if you guys have seen Denver's defense, but they've been really, really good so far. So, you know, he's definitely, I mean, it's Kenneth Walker. He's a great player. It's just whether or not he's ready to go. So I'm going to be taking the over on this one. I feel good about it. Like I said, he ran through Denver like it was nothing in the last game he played. So feeling good about this one. I think, yeah, that Arizona game was last year. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but you know, I feel really good about this play. If we look at this one on Daily Grind, let me pull this up. I think this one is favored to go under. It's actually favored to go over. It's 52.13% chance to go over. So they feel good about it as well. Like I said, if he gets a touchdown, this is just cash. I mean, without a doubt. So feel good about it. The rushing yards are juiced to go under. So I think a lot of it is going to come from him getting into the end zone here. So feeling good about Kenneth Walker in this matchup. Next up, I got Tyreek Hill. I feel really good about his rushing and receiving yards here. I think they're going to right the ship with Tyreek Hill. I mean, if you were talking about taking Tyreek Hill over 54 receiving and rushing yards at the beginning of the year, you would have been all over that play. Against Jacksonville, he went for 130. Obviously, they had Tua, but since they haven't had Tua, he has not cleared this line. He's only gone for 36 and 14. But against Buffalo, he did have a rushing. He had 12 rushing yards and 24 receiving yards. Against Seattle in the last game, they obviously got murdered. He had 40 receiving yards. It's just looked really weird. I mean, like they haven't even look at his target shares, 6 and 5. Now, Tyreek Hill is one of those guys who can clear this line on one catch. He can go for 60 yards. We've seen him do it a million times. He had an 80-yard touchdown against Jacksonville in the very first game of the year. He's that guy. He's that fast. Really good. If he does take a rushing attempt here, really good rushing attempts against wide receiver. 30th in the league, 16.3 in the value. The receiving yards are tough. It is a tough matchup, but it's Tyreek Hill. If he can just, get that target share back up, and I think they will. I think Huntley is going to go for him, and I think it'll be fine. So I'm taking this over what do we got here? 54.5 rushing and receiving. Now, we were talking about this earlier. I actually have a slip. Me and Russo made a slip with both of these earlier. I have one that'll cash tomorrow if him and Waddle hit this, but there's a 0.5 rushing demon for Tyreek Hill. He just needs 1 rushing yard, and the same with Waddle. I have both of these in a slip and a 6-man, and that's the last part of my leg I need to hit. Him and Waddle both get rushing attempts every so often, and usually like 1 a game they both are usually getting. Waddle's cashed this in every 4 out of his last 5 games. Tyreek Hill's only cashed it in 1 out of his last 5, but like I said, they need to get creative. I think Mike McDaniels is really going to start to kind of get into the hat trick type stuff to get a win. They have to get some wins here. So their backs against the wall. I expect Miami to win this game. If you look at the over/under, it is a 37 over/under. They're favored by 2.5. So I think they're going to control the clock a lot with the running and the, passing it out deep again. So they just need to get back to their identity. So I feel pretty good about, the write-up for this game. I think we'll find out really early how this game's going to go. Hopefully it's a somewhat normal day tomorrow. Some of these games, like we were talking about it's just been completely unpredictable. Like even with the Jahan Dotson play, I was like beating myself up about it, but I'm like, they didn't even have a single yard of offense until the last 3 minutes of the second quarter. So I don't feel bad about that. Philly just played horrible. That's why Dallas is the better team, but we'll get into that a different day. But, it's just been really weird for the first 4 weeks. We're still learning a lot about teams. So we just have to kind of sit back and see how this is going to look with Tyler Huntley and if he even finishes the game out or what it's going to look like. So I do like this, though. It's Tyreek Hill. I think he just needs one big opportunity and he'll cash this line, no problem. So if you guys want to go check out Chalkboard, it's a lot of fun. They have a bazillion alt lines over there, so you could take this Tyreek Hill rushing, receiving, and probably bump it up 2 or 3 times and get a higher multiplier on it. So you could make it like a demon play, where you could get a higher multiplier on it. So right now it's probably like over on Chalkboard, it's probably like a 1.4x. You could bump it up 2 or 3 times and get it up to like a 2 or a 3x multiplier on just the one play. So if you like playing 2 or 3 mans, you can get really high up there with just a couple plays. And it's a lot of fun over there on Chalkboard. If you're like making complete YOLOs, you can bump all these up as high as you can go and put like $1 on it and try to go for that like 145x or whatever it may be. So it's a lot of fun. If you guys want to check out Chalkboard, there's a link in the description below. They'll match your first deposit up to $100 and they'll give you a free play to help you cash your first play. They also run like 6 specials a day, so whether that's a boosted multiplier on just a play, like a normal play, like they'll take Tyreek's rushing receiving at 54.5 and they'll just boost it up to like a 2x, so you can throw that in your slips if you like it, or they'll discount the play, so they'll bring it down to like a 35.5 rushing receiving yards and then they'll just give you the regular multiplier on it. So it's a lot of fun. Definitely go check them out. And that's gonna do it for me tonight.
All right. Yeah, like that Waddle, like in hindsight, like because we were like thinking to ourselves like this is gonna move anytime now, so we just like threw together some slips real quick when we saw like Waddle and Tyreek both have 0.5 rushing yard demons, when it just doesn't make sense to us. So I'm in the same boat. I've got one. I made one with I bumped up Jaden Reed to like 69.5 receiving yards and he cashed. And then I also took Marvin Harrison Jr.'s fantasy score, which I thought was golden, and he pushed like 15.5 exactly, which is hard to do.
So crazy. 15.5.
Yeah, getting a push on fantasy score is so random. But anyways, so that'll get downgraded. I did like a 4-man power play, I believe, and so that'll get downgraded to a 3-man if these hit. But we'll be watching pretty closely tomorrow to see if these guys get rush attempts, because just one rush attempt is going to get it for either of these guys.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if you want to come join our community, we did throw these slips in earlier when we made them. So we got some people in the community tailing. But yeah, we have a lot of fun. We all work together and we build out slips together. And we also chat, during the games and whatnot. So we cover fantasy football in here. We cover props like beyond what our videos show. We do esports and baseball and pretty much anything that people are wanting to get into. We all work on the slips together. So if you want to come join us, go through the Patreon link and sign up through Patreon. That just manages our Discord subscription service. So sign up through Patreon and then go over to, actually, I was going to see, I think I've got it on here. Yeah, so when you're in Patreon, once you sign up, just go to this and you just connect your app there, connect your Discord in the settings there. It's like a connected apps option. So you just do that and it'll unlock our channel for you. And then, yeah, if you do join though, make sure you let us know that you are new in the community chat, because for one, the whole family would like to welcome you, but also we want to like make sure that you understand how everything works. It's not super complicated, but if you know like what each channel in here does, you'll just be able to get the most out of your subscription when you join. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. I think we've covered everything. Good luck on this doubleheader NFL slate on Monday, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Good luck, guys.